Hello, welcome traders. It is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, second day of the new month. Another good profitable day for us. So we had another great P&L update. Markets dropped today decently, so it's nice to see the markets pulling back a bit. We're going to spend a really short amount of time on some charts and let's look at the account a bit today, mainly because I did put out a video earlier that's out there right now on technical analysis where I went pretty deep into candlestick charts, which is what I use primarily. So it talked about really a couple key candlestick reversal patterns that we look for, a couple of the different things that give us some hints as to what direction the markets might be moving. And then I talk about my two favorite patterns in charting, and we'll see if we get into a couple here tonight, but I don't want to get too in depth because you guys can watch that other video that's out there. But really, I look at triangles, ascending triangles, descending triangles, symmetrical triangles, and then I also look at rising and falling wedges. That's pretty much it. You can easily draw, support resistance lines. You can get all that stuff figured out, but really all of those figure into ascending and descending triangles. But I like to see the triangles versus just a standard old break of resistance. But you can go watch the other video, get how I do technical analysis a bit. I don't really think that you need to watch the news or focus on TV and listening to all the stuff that's going on. Everything's reflected in the price. And the candlestick candle tells you everything you need to know about the open, the close, what happened during the day, who's in charge, bulls or bears, when things are reversing. So you can check all of that out and then look at the two patterns. And primarily, we've got two services here. We've got the Income Navigator service that we run. And in that service, primarily, that's where I trade the majority of my trades. That is all, to me, 60, 90, and 120-day trades, a few leaps as well. It's income generating. It's selling premium to drive your income or your growth or both of your accounts. So we are premium sellers. We are theta traders at heart, but I like the longer term. To me, you get more more bang for your buck. Studies have shown that anything over 45 days, so like the 60, the 90, 120 days, and once you get over 45 days, that the realized move is less than the implied move from a volatility standpoint. When you're 45, 30, 10, whatever days, then typically the realized volatility or the realized move is outsized or larger than the implied volatility or the implied move. So why trade short term when I can put the odds in my favor to trade longer term? So that's why we trade 60, 90, and 120-day most of the time, and a few leaps out there. But we look for a couple key patterns. We really focus on the weekly chart when it comes to most of the premium selling strategies that we do in Income Navigator. In the active trader service, that's more of a swing trading service, mostly stocks, options on stocks, either selling, put or call credit spreads, butterfly trades. Others do long options, and there's also some scalping of futures done in that particular service. There we use the daily chart patterns. We also might get into 15-minute, 3-minute, 1 hour, depending on what we're doing. But it's the same patterns. So I'm looking for the same candlestick setups, the same pattern setups, and the same underlying technicals to drive my trade. So let's get into that. But if you haven't seen it, it's a great video. It's been about a little over an hour today with our members, but I put it out there for everyone to watch. Hopefully you get some good value out of that. So let's just jump into our charts here, and let me get off the screen so you guys can see what's going on. And let's just look at what happened in the market. So we saw yesterday dropping 0.6% down overall on the session. We are in a bit of a rising wedge pattern here. So you can pretty easily see this rising wedge pattern that we're in. Typically, if we break down below that pattern, it is a bearish setup all along. So we're slowly getting to the top of this pattern. So we'll see which way we break, the upside or the downside, but something's got to give. It can't just keep getting narrower and narrower forever. Now, we've got momentum heading lower. You've got RSI dropping, MACD dropping, the squeeze momentum's all dropping. So you can see what's happening here on ES as we continue to fall. If we move over to oil, we can see a completely different type of pattern setup. This one's in a rising channel, but you can see the number of times we had rising or ascending triangles. Here's one here, broke. Another one up here that we had broke to the upside. So we continue to move to the upside, even bouncing outside of this channel. This is also a little bit of a wedge pattern forming here as well. So we do like oil, very bullish on oil. It is overbought on the daily, but for what we do, we rely more on the weekly charts, and the weekly charts are still very, very bullish, loving oil. And we have a lot of trades on oil. We've got multiple 112s in April, multiple 112s and 111 trades in May. We've got strangles in June, and then we've got naked puts in July. So we've got a lot of trades here. If we take a look at gold, gold's just been on a tear. There's just nothing to do here, in my opinion. Looking at the weekly chart, this thing's just on a rip-roaring ride higher. Let's actually put in the 50 on the RSI so we can just get a sense of where the momentum is running on the relative strength here. But you can see on this weekly, we are pounding deep into overbought territory here. Interesting, there's just no let up. This thing can actually move its way a little bit higher. Let's update this, 2301, new all-time high today on gold, as gold just showing no signs of stopping. It's over the 3 ATR, but it's just riding that band higher. And no candlesticks here to tell you that, hey, we're looking to reverse. But what we pointed out here was a couple of different candlestick reversal patterns, like the one, this reversal down in here, where we made the move up, another reversal, and it's pretty much a doji here, had a ride down, another reversal candle here, and another ride up. So we use these just to give ourselves some sense of what direction we may be going. This was a perfect candle way back in here on this hammer, showing us that this was maybe the bottom of this down move, and since then we have ripped higher. But I'm not doing anything in gold right now. It's already a little too far gone for me to jump in. We'll wait till that thing cools down. So DX, the dollar dropped fractionally today, but bonds dropped even more. We remain in this downtrending channel. But I think the one thing that's pretty interesting to take a look at is everything's downward momentum, weekly, daily. This thing looks terribly ugly on bonds as we fall, but pretty nice candlestick pattern here on a reversal. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. I don't want to get too carried away on candlesticks and everything else. I'm just giving you some sense of what we did today. But when you see at the when you see something forming along the lines of a hammer at the bottom here, so that hammer can really give you, it's not a perfect hammer, but a pretty good, decent wick to the downside. I like to see it more like 2/3 of the way and then only 1/3 of the body, but still a decent reversal today. Let's see if we get any kind of follow through to the upside. I'd like to potentially get some new bond trades on, so we'll watch it here. I don't think bonds are going lower than the 106, 107 mark that we set back in October of last year. I think that mark is probably pretty steady, but we can certainly go a little bit lower here. I'm going to be looking to get long bonds again, but we've got bond trades running right now. We've got a 112 trade up 27% in 28 days. We've also got a strangle up 10% in bonds. If we get a little bit of a pop, we'll pop a new strangle on and we'll keep running. All right, taking a look here at copper futures as well. I love the way copper looks. Copper looks fantastic on the weekly. You've got MACD rising a bit. You've got RSI rising. You're in a decently long squeeze. This thing could be setting up for a pretty nice run. You've had this ascending triangle pattern here. As soon as we broke through this resistance, came back down almost to it, touched it, and off we go and running higher. So we've got MACD on the daily, and RSI moving higher. We've got a couple copper trades on. We've got 112 trades on, and we've also got put credit spreads on in copper. We've got one we put on yesterday. We're up 26% in one day. So another fantastic trade brewing right there. We'll see how it ends up. And then if you take a look at the NASDAQ here, one of the things I took off the screen, but I think it's very interesting to take a look at here, is that you've got a pretty good rising wedge pattern, which again can be a bearish move if you break to the downside. That was a perfect draw here, but close enough. So you've got this narrowing, stair-stepping up and down and up and down and up and down, narrower and narrower and narrower. So each time the pullback gets a little shallower, but the rally gets a little shallower too. So you're losing a little bit of steam, and that's certainly showing when we look at I'm sorry, I'm trying to draw this on here real quick. When we look at RSI, MACD, and everything else, and see what's happening here, you can see that momentum's been coming out on the daily and momentum's coming out on the weekly. And we broke to the downside today. We did finish well off of our lows, and we held the 21 EMA. Could be, again, another nice hammer pattern here, as we had a doji the day before, a little indecision. Today, bigger decision, but finished off the lows. Did that move everybody out to begin with here? And now we can maybe move higher. We'll see. But we did hold. I like to see these patterns, these hammer type candlesticks. I like to see these near some sort of a support level like the 21 EMA here. I think that bodes decently well, but we'll see if we break through it tomorrow and break through the 21. I think the NASDAQ could be in a little bit of trouble. And then lastly, let's just take a quick look at RTY here. Looking at the Russell, pretty good sell-off today. You had this nice ascending triangle. Again, I love triangles. Big breakout here, moving to the upside. Was really stair-stepping its way nicely here. And then two pretty good down days. Finished off its lows. Really also held the 21 EMA today. We'll see how that one fares. We need to see some continuation of these patterns. So just one day doesn't make it a pattern. It just makes it a candle. So an interesting candle today on a couple. Tomorrow we'd need to see some follow through or a reversal to the upside. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on. And I lied, we'll do one more chart. We've got a descending triangle here on 6A, and we're really holding this support line here. If we break it, I think we get a nice little breakout to the downside. If we can't, if we break it to the upside, then I think we have some room to rock and roll on this particular one. So I like it in here. I don't think it's a bad trade to look to do something. We're strangling this thing right now. We've got multiple strangles on. We're really holding pretty close to the 21, the 50, the 200. You're all bunched up right in here. I think that's a great opportunity for strangles right in the middle of the ATR bands. So we put more strangles on there as well. So no major things, but you can see here, again, as we look at this shooting star pattern here before the sell-off, another shooting star here, another sell-off. So again, these patterns do look pretty good. Here's a bit of a hammer down here and reversed higher. So I'm looking for these candles at or near support levels that we may have indicated. All right, so there's where we are on the futures. Quick look at sectors today, and you were led massively by energy, which is just on a rip-roaring ride higher. Energy is just on fire. And also along with that is oil. So oil and gas cranking higher. And then you've got utilities that have been moving nicely higher as well. Leading the bottom of the barrel here, semiconductors, struggling to get anything going, but they've had such a great run, good consolidation pattern happening. But you can be also starting to look at somewhat of a triangle pattern starting to form in here. We'll see what happens. It's going to break one way or the other. At that point, we'll look to potentially get back in, trade it. And then if we look at XBI. These are your biotechs here. Biotech sector dropping lower, watching this trend line as this heads higher. And then you had a decent little, descending triangle. So a descending triangle pattern in here. We broke below that today. We've already had the downward momentum on the weekly. So weekly has been downward on its momentum. MACD's kind of been just floundering around with RSI falling. So again, it's just giving us a good sense of what can we trade out there. So we covered a bunch of these today. You can watch the video. I'm not going to get too much into these. And then just looking at a couple major stocks out there. If we look at quickly at just the Magnificent Seven, I know a ton of lines on here. I drew some of this stuff earlier, but really this is a falling wedge pattern, which can be bullish if we can break out to the upside. But it's also inside this falling wedge, you've got a descending triangle with some support below it. And we're really just trying to hold on to that. Today, a little bit of a reversal, not much. So a little indecision on Apple. Let's see if this thing can get itself moving higher, or does this break? And then we continue just another leg down, another lower low for these. All right, Microsoft, same thing. Ascending, though, wedge on this one. Ascending wedge, which can be a bearish pattern. If we break to the downside, we managed to hold the 21 EMA today decently, even though we were down on the session. You've got a bit of an ascending triangle here. So this is something we would be looking to break to the upside on Microsoft. And I don't know why all of my indicators got a little messed up in TOS here. Everything seems to be getting messed up in TOS now that Schwab took over. But you've got RSI's falling, squeeze a little bit weaker here. So you got to really be careful with Microsoft. Amazon, nice ascending triangle, but also a rising wedge. So a couple of competing patterns here. If this breaks to the upside, maybe we get a little bit more of a move until we get up to about here. And then who knows if we break this rising wedge pattern in here to the downside, then I think this thing can fall decently here. Meta, finally having a decent day. This thing's just been in a sideways range for quite a while, not doing a whole lot of anything in here. Might even have a little bit of a descending wedge pattern here. It's trying to hold on to support. It's trying to bounce its way higher. We'll see if Meta can keep this market from going down the tubes. Ascending triangle breakout on Google. It looks pretty good. Everything's moving pretty well on that. On the daily, you've got a bit of an ascending triangle here on NVIDIA on the daily, and a little bit of it on the weekly, even though momentum has been to the downside. Tesla not faring well. It's also in a downtrending channel, but inside that channel is a descending wedge. I know there's just a lot of stuff on here, but if this thing can get any momentum and break out to the upside here, this could also become a decently bullish little pattern. I think you have some support down in here. You've got support back to this pivot level, but you can see, where some of these candles have really held up well. You got a hammer down here on this downtrend, which launched us up. Okay, then you have like a shooting star up in here, launched us down. We'll see what happens here. Nice reversal potential candle here. Didn't hold, no follow through. So we just wait until we get the confirmation the next day that the direction is right, and then we may be off to the races. I don't have any other charts to pull up for you, except I wanted to take a look at one more, and I believe that was Palantir, which everybody just loves Palantir. Not one of my favorite patterns, but the head and shoulders is a pretty reliable pattern in many cases. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breaking the neckline here today. Even though we finished back up at the neckline, you can also look at this as if it was, and a lot of people point out the head and shoulders piece, but to me, it's a head and shoulders, but the key component to that, to me, is the descending triangle. So, all Head and Shoulders are a descending triangle, unless they're an inverse Head and Shoulders. So they're all a descending triangle piece here. If you break through the descending triangle, then you've got more downside. So you can call it a Head and Shoulders. It's all great. Looks like, you had good momentum, couldn't get a whole lot more going, and now you're stair-stepping back down. I get it. It's all good. You can play the Head and Shoulders pattern, which is also, to me, part of a descending triangle. Anyway, that's enough technical analysis of the markets for everybody. You don't need me to go through all that. You can watch the video I did today. Let's take a look at the account today. We finished up with 498 positive deltas in the entire portfolio. That's 0.10% to the upside. Mainly because the market's moving lower, and we also unloaded a few good trades the last 2 days, so that's really moved us up quite a bit. Volatility is popping just a tad. VIX up another 7% today to 1461. Massive VIX move, 1461. Look out. VIX coming alive a little bit here in the mid-teens, and that's giving us some really good theta. We're up to 0.27% of portfolio. Not too bad. We'd like to see us get a little bit more here. We have a lot of buying power to put to use. Our net lick dropped fractionally today, mainly because we had a few bond trades that are a little subject to this downward move in bonds. So far, it's in pretty good shape. And then lastly here, after you take Bill out, we're only sitting at 41% buying power. We got plenty of buying power, plenty of dry powder. If this market goes down anymore or begins to rally, either one, we are ready. Either way we can go. We've seen a bunch of different chart setups. We're in good shape. We did book another $750 today on top of yesterday's 1690. So we're already up $2,400 this month, 0.5% already in just 2 days. And just to take a look at what that was today, we sold another naked call that we had sold against our long-term 112. So we took one off yesterday for 420, another one off today for 750. These freed up an immense amount of buying power. Even though we still had the naked puts on, selling the naked calls after the fact on a 112 trade used up a lot of buying power. So by closing this out, we booked a nice little gain. And then that also freed up a ton of buying power for us. So we are ready to rock and roll. We'll see how things go. We are now up almost 13% year to date in 3 months. In 3 months and 2 days, we're up 13%. Love where we are. The S&P is up 9.7, almost 9.8%. So we are outdueling the S&P by 3 to 4% right now. Not that that's our goal, but we do keep an eye on it. If we do this well in an up market and S&P starts to pull back, we are really going to hit some things and benefit. So there you have it. All good stuff today. Another great day out there. Check out the video on technical analysis. If you like this video and you got something out of it, please go ahead and hit that like button for me. Share it with who you can. Get the word out. Let's help as many people trade as we can. Probabilities rule. Okay, so when you're selling options and options on futures, which is what we do, probabilities rule, and you've got to let the probabilities play out. But a little tiny technical analysis can give you some really great insights to help make sure that you've got the right direction potentially in mind. If you've got the direction even remotely correct, and we're selling puts or calls above or below that are out of the money a little bit, we're going to be in great shape, right? So that's really the theme for today is use the probabilities, but also understand just how a little technical analysis, not crazy stuff, not a lot of different things out there, just having some semblance of what direction are we going? Do we see a reversal pattern? Reversal patterns are my favorite. Okay, so I love reversal patterns. I love to see when something's overbought or oversold, starts to move the other direction. That pivot point for me is a great place to sell puts, sell calls, or just sell options, period, especially in an up move. So that's what I'm always looking for. That helps our trading a bit. All right. If you like this, go ahead and join us in the Discord as well. See what we're trading. You can join the active trader service if you want to trade stocks and futures on the short-term basis, either intraday scalps, butterflies, credit spreads, weekly trades as well, daily and weekly trades in Active Trader, or if you just want to relax and make consistent long-term gains, the Income Navigator service, that's where I'm spending the majority of my time. That's where we're really making great impacts on people here, easing them out of that active trading, day trading lifestyle and into something that's consistent, mechanical, repeatable, that allows them to enjoy life and create that financial freedom for themselves and their families. If that's for you, go ahead and check out the Discord links below. There's a coupon code King that you can use, get $50 off the first month. We'd love to have you join us, see what we're all about. We've got some great things going on. We've got an IRA account that we trade. We've got small accounts that we trade. We've got a large trading account. We've got PM large trading accounts. We've got futures only accounts, and we've got a couple other contributors really putting things together, and we offer a lot of different mentoring and coaching services for you. All right, improve your trading, get some friends to trade with, and help yourself achieve that freedom. Everybody take care. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you. Bye-bye.